It's April 13th, 2018.
This is Nerd Bourbon, episode 45. I am the Globgogabgalab.
And I'm Todd Sturgill.
Are you familiar with that dead meme?
I'm not. I don't even want to know what the hell it is.
Oh, God. Yeah, you do. Hang on, real quick. I'll introduce you to this dead meme live. So, the Globgogabgalab is a meme. It's a dead meme already. I just learned of it literally today. Essentially what it is, it's from this, like, I guess animated film that came out in like 2013, and it has this disturbing, like, fleshy homunculus man just singing in a library about how he eats books and knowledge. I'm gonna link you to this real quick, and we'll watch it. And I'll insert the audio so that we can do this live here. I want to introduce it. It's a quick video. It's only like a minute long. I put it in chat for you.
Okay, let me take a look. Let me turn it down. I don't want to like pick up on my mic here real quick.
I'm the Globgogabgalab. I
Enjoy.
love books,
Oh.
and this basement is a true
What the
treasure
fuck
trove.
is this? I don't like it.
I am the Globgogabgalab.
But something about it. There's just something about it. And it was funny because the way I found out about this, I'm subscribed to Nick Robinson, and he did a edit of it today, where it's just this video, but he pasted like he edited the Parappa stuff on top of it,
Oh no.
because it looks like just everything about it looks like it's a Parappa stage. Like, just the way that it's shot and like the music and the things moving in the background, like it looks straight out of Parappa.
I don't like how the books have eyes.
Yeah. And like so much so that Anastasia was watching me watch it just on its own today, and she literally was like, "Is this like a new Parappa game?" Because it looks just like, I'm telling you, like it. I don't know. It's weird. Like if it was not intentional, if it was not intentionally shot like a Parappa thing, it totally looks fresh out of Parappa. Anyway, that was
I'm not a big fan. Let's continue. Also, you know what's funny is I've realized, like, ever since I first read did like the date a certain way, I've just been doing that ever since.
How
I
do
don't
you
know
mean?
if you realize that, like the slowish, like 2018.
Like
I did this shit like
anchor?
once, and I've been doing it like ever since, basically.
That's fair. That was your dead meme segment. An exciting new segment here on Nerd Bourbon.
Nerd Bourbon's dead memes. I hate it.
Nerd Bourbon's dead meme of the week. What you been up to this week, man?
Nothing much. Like, honestly, it's just like my like past couple weeks have just been like Far Cry. Just kind of like just killing, like just slowly. Not even slowly. I already beat the fucking game.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick, because like now that I'm almost done with Far Cry, like I imagine I'll have Far Cry platinumed by this weekend. So I'm pretty much I've played enough. I've played enough to be able to talk intelligently. I know about the ending and stuff like that. So like let's kind of give our final thoughts on Far Cry.
Where do I start?
I mean, I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about the co-op, so I don't want to talk too much about that.
Honestly, we can just talk about like how I feel. I'll talk about how I feel about the story overall. Like, I would hate the story less if they didn't force me into it.
That is this game's biggest sin, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like
shit.
I'll be sitting there I'll be sitting there just doing side shit, right? Just side shit, just trying to enjoy myself, just like enjoying the actual setting of the game, which is like my favorite part of it. I love like actually just roaming around in Montana and shit. It's fun. It's great. But like I think I told you, this is back when I was we were streaming. We were in John's area, the first area of the game, and I was catching up because co-op's garbage.
Dude, yeah.
And so I was catching up in my game. I'm sitting there doing this air raid mission. I'm sitting there in a fucking plane flying around doing this mission, like mid fucking mission, and all of a sudden I get like shot with like the tranq bullets, or I think that's how they did it
in the plane.
Oh, dude, dead ass, like up in the air in the plane. I thought I
Wow.
told you about this. Yeah, I straight up just get shot, and like, all right, I guess I'm doing the story now.
Holy
the fuck?
shit, that's so bad.
Oh, dude, that's the thing. Like, that's one of my biggest things. It's like if I'm in a mission, like it annoys me even more. It's like I'm doing something else. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah,
like I understand. I'd be a little more understanding if it was like just happening. If I was just randomly exploring, it's still not acceptable. But I'd be more understanding.
I'm going to explain what we're talking about because I can't remember if we touched on this in the last episode or not. Essentially, or the episode before, whenever we fucking talked about Far Cry, essentially what we're talking about is the way the story is set up. Occasionally, the game kind of forces you to experience its story missions by sending out like these hunters who shoot you with this drug called Bliss, and it essentially knocks you out, and ends up with you being like face to face, quite literally, with like the villains and the story and shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which would be fine, except for, like Todd said, it happens at these kind of random points. No matter what you're doing, you could just be like trying to do a side mission, or maybe you're hunting or fishing something, or in Todd's case, flying a fucking plane. And yeah, you'll be taken out of whatever it is you were doing, and you're forced to experience the stupid story. And like, and it bums me out because like the Far Cry series has always been about freedom, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And like the story is generally for me the last thing I touch in the Far Cry games. Yep. Like I don't give a fuck about the story, you know? And like it's even more so in this one because the story actually kind of like pisses me off in this game because like this game really is trying to like have its cake and eat it too, because on one hand it's like, oh, it's Far Cry and fucking bull testicles and punching turkeys and blowing shit up. Oh, it's great, isn't it? And then every so often it's like, oh, but let's stop for a second and talk about politics and religion and try to be smart and talk about current political events and Korea and shit like that. I'm like, man, like you can't be both. You know what I mean? Like I think Far Cry 3 and 4 and even Primal had a good balance of like the story not being in the way of the gameplay. Mm-hmm. And that is not the approach that Far Cry 5 takes. And it's really annoying.
It's the complete opposite. It's completely in the fucking way. It's like, I don't even want to like honestly, I would have done the story completely last. Because I think like as I've gotten older, like I've changed the way I play games. Yeah. I used to just rush through the story. But like now I just kind of like take my time and actually like check those boxes. You know, like see how I did it with Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
The story was like the last thing I fucking did.
It just bums me out because like I really like a good chunk of... I feel like for everything that I like about Far Cry 5, there's something that I dislike even more. Like, it's got the best gameplay of the series, I think the best setting of the series, but then it's also got the weakest story. The way it presents the story sucks, and I'll touch on it again. The co-op sucks. The way they handle the co-op sucks, even though the co-op itself is fun, you know?
Yeah, the co-op is like... it's like actually fun, but the way, like just the pure way that they handled it with... one, like the shit doesn't carry over. Oh god, I could talk about how much that pisses me off for like a solid hour.
It's just such a bummer. Like the game just bums me out. And I was talking to our friend about it, and I was like, it really makes it like kind of my least favorite of the Far Cry games that I've played, because I didn't really fuck with 1, 2 I didn't fuck with too much. From 3 on, I've 100%ed like every Far Cry game that has come out since 3, and
what would you say is your favorite?
I would say 4 is my favorite.
That's honestly probably where I'm at, honestly.
Yeah, I would probably
like
go
4, 3, Primal, and then 5.
That's probably where I would go to. And like I was telling him, I may give 5 the slight edge over Primal just because Primal was essentially a 4 expansion. But even then,
it definitely was. But it's yeah.
Because Primal was really fun with like the animals and the mounts and shit that.
The amount of fun I had in Primal.
Yeah, Primal was really fun, like even if it was kind of like a half step. But this one just bums me out. Like There's so much missed potential, and the thing that is really frustrating about it for me, and I don't want to sound too harsh on the game because like ultimately, it's still a lot of fun. I've still spent a ton of time with it. I'm gonna platinum it. You know, I don't play games if they're not fun, and so, I mean, this game is still fun, and but it's just frustrating. The little kind of complaints that I have really stack up. And what's annoying is, and I said this to you before, like, is that all of these are decision based. Like, all of these they're all very easily fixable mistakes, you know? Like, all of this could have been avoided, you know?
Yep.
It's just frustrating. It's a frustrating game.
I think that's what makes it hurt more. Like, the fact that it's like, it could have been easily fixed.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've been playing some other stuff that I wanted to kind of briefly talk about.
Is it time for the weekly segment of Seth's Indie Corner?
Well, we'll get to Seth's Indie Corner. I did want to talk about because I have been playing. There is one indie game that I want to shout out, but I do want to talk about. I feel like I should make like a little music sting for Seth's Indie Corner.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. I would actually kind of love like some like shitty little like maybe like some shitty little like acoustic guitar or some
like a
shit.
little hipster acoustic or like a jazz cafe kind of music sting or something.
Yeah, just kind of like just slip that in. Yeah, that'd be nice.
But I finally finished Kirby Star Allies. It's been kind of a slog, to be honest with you. I'm very disappointed by that game. It's a lot of the stuff that I've talked about before. I don't want to beat the dead horse. I ended up liking it overall. Like overall, I think it's a good game. Like, I actually really enjoyed the last kind of section of levels. The last few levels are the best in the game. And the last boss fight is actually really, really good.
Okay.
But like, I don't know, like just something that boy ain't right.
Was it your like main issue? Like, didn't it kind of like feel like they just didn't like advance enough? Like, it was just kind of like the same thing, or like it was like 2 steps back type of shit.
It's kind of stale, but it also feels like a step back because the collectibles are very much scaled back, and like they I don't like the way the collectibles are handled. The exploration is way like.
It's more streamlined, isn't it?
It's way more linear than it ever has been. Because, like, you used to have to... I'm telling... When I first started playing Star Allies, I was playing it as if I was playing Triple Deluxe or Planet Robobot. Like, I'm sitting there, like, flying up and, like, looking vertically and stuff like that and looking all in all these obscure places.
And you just don't have to do that. And
just nothing's there. You don't have to do that. Everything is in your path for the most part. If you play through this game, it will be very hard for you to not also 100% this game, basically. Like, unless you're just flat out ignoring stuff and just not doing the obvious other paths, you will basically 100% this game as you're playing it. And it's just, and I understand why they do it, because like I've never liked the argument of like, oh, Kirby's so easy, because like Kirby is, I think, the most kid-friendly Nintendo franchise. For that reason, and it's supposed to be like the kind of pick up and play, and Star Allies in particular, it has a co-op focus, so like the idea is that like I should be able to hand this to my little brother who's never played Kirby before, or my nephew or whatever, and he should have an easy enough time of it. But like but Star Allies, and that's always been fine, but the thing about it is like it had a good balance, because even though the combat and the actual levels were easy enough, the exploration was kind of at a higher scale, just slightly, so that adult players could still enjoy it. Like, this feels more like Star Allies feels more like a kid's game than Kirby has ever felt before. And I don't know, like, ultimately it's still Kirby, it's still good. Like, the core of Kirby is still very good, and the music's really good, and it's beautiful, and you know, there's a good heart to it, and it controls well, and it runs well, and stuff like that. But like, just the level design really bums me out, and the way they handled collectibles bums me out. It feels like a huge step back from Triple Deluxe and Planet Robobot. I don't know. I'm a little disappointed with it. Still a good game. I'm happy they're supporting it with DLC. We'll see where it goes from here. It also feels really content light, though. Like even compared to Triple Deluxe and Planet Robobot, like after you beat the game, there's just this swath of like new shit to do, and even that is pretty much scaled back in Star Allies. So
Okay.
I don't know. It just feels like it just feels like a big it just feels like a big step back in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Yeah, but so I finished that. I wanted to talk briefly about Detective Pikachu. Because that is a game that I've been dabbling in. You know, it's pretty much kind of like I go to bed a little bit earlier now, so I can play like 30 minutes of Detective Pikachu or something like that.
Is it what is it on? Is it on the Switch?
It's on the 3DS.
3DS.
I
Okay.
wish it was on the Switch. I wish everything was on the Switch. Because on some real shit, like I'm like I understand Nintendo's like trying to convince people that the 3DS isn't dead. so they
They
like
should just accept it. Just let the Switch be their like only thing right now.
I
Like,
wish they would.
I don't know.
I totally wish they would, because like they're still putting out like big games, like Detective Pikachu is a pretty big game, and then like last year they put out Metroid Samus Returns,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
big enough games to make me want to blow the dust off and play the 3DS again. So I mean it is kind of nice because I haven't spent any significant time with my 3DS in a long time, except for Metroid and Detective Pikachu, so it is kind of nice playing it, but the whole time I'm just like, fuck, like, am I really still playing the 3DS? Like, I just wish it was on Switch. Just put this shit on Switch and be done with it. It's frustrating, but it's a good game. So like, it's kind of like an adventure game, like almost like a point and click adventure game.
Okay.
And yeah, it's about doing detective work. And what I really like about it is I like its like, I don't know, I like its style. Like, so one of the very first things you do, there's like these Apom. Are you familiar with Pokemon Apom? It's that monkey motherfucker with a hand on its tail.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
That
yeah.
purple one or pink one or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I know
there's
what
like
you're talking about.
there's like a group of Apom that like steal this little girl's necklace, and they're kind of just like running rampant and getting into shit throughout the city. And it's just funny because like you find this fainted Apom who got into a fight with like a Murkrow or something like that, but it had like terrorized a hot dog cart beforehand. So when you're examining this fainted Apom, he's got ketchup all over him, so it looks like you're investigating like a murder scene, even though it's just a whole bunch of ketchup. You know, like it's just got this funny kind of like this funny vibe to it, and I don't know, like it's this again, and this is another thing. It seems kind of like dumbed down a little bit. There are definitely some times where like I figured shit out like way in advance, and I'm just kind of like having to go through the steps to get to the conclusion that I've already made like 10 minutes ago. You know,
Okay.
like it's like, oh, this is probably what I have to do. Let me just keep going through these steps until, okay, yeah, there it is. Now I can do the thing that I knew I had to do already. You know. But it's good though. Like I'm actually pleasantly surprised by it, and it's funny because you know, my fiance hates the fact that Pikachu talks with Detective Pikachu. She hates the voice, but I love it. I'm all about it. Like he's got this gruff kind of like New Yorker voice, and he like drinks coffee and shit.
Oh shit! I need to hear this.
Oh, it's great. There was a petition for a long time to have Danny DeVito do the voice. But of course that didn't happen. There's a legit petition with like a lot of signatures to have Danny DeVito do the voice of Detective Pikachu.
That would have been fucking gold.
Yes, it didn't happen obviously, but yeah. So but they got a good voice for him. He's got like this kind of gruff voice. It's pretty good. It's like pretty good. Yeah. So you know, it's nothing fancy, but Detective Pikachu, it's seeing the Pokemon universe from like a different perspective. Like it feels more up close and personal than like a normal typical Pokemon game, where you're just kind of collecting them. Like you're actually seeing how Pokemon interact with the world. Like the world of Pokemon is a world where a fucking monkey can just grab your necklace and take off. You know, like that's the kind of shit that, you know, and it's the kind of world where you could be like sweeping up trash and encounter like, you know, a fucking Pokemon that's using the trash to make it like its body, you know, like it's an interesting like perspective on the Pokemon, I guess, universe, that I appreciate. So Detective Pikachu. It's pretty good. But yeah, this is the indie game that I wanted to talk about. Is a game I don't know if you've seen or heard of it. It's called Minit. Have you heard of this?
Sorry, what was it? I was listening to the Detective Pikachu voice. It's good shit.
How'd you like it?
I enjoy it. It's good.
It's called Minit. Have you heard of Minit?
No. What's the deal with it?
Okay, it's an indie game. It's made like a very old school, like even pre NES. Like it plays like the old Zelda games, like the original Legend of Zelda, but graphically it looks even more sort of rote and like almost like an Atari, almost like kind of like it sort of exists like just between Atari and NES.
Is it on PS4?
Yes.
I've seen it on the store. I just didn't know what the fuck it was.
Yes. So the whole gimmick with it is you play as this little like thing. Like I don't even know what exactly it is. Like he just looks like a little like circle with lips. And but the whole thing about it is you find this sword that curses you and allows you to only be alive for a minute at a time. So the game is about doing these little minute-long loops and kind of like making progress in minute-long loops, and it does really interesting things with that. And I you know, the idea kind of stems from Majora's Mask kind of thing, you know, obviously, but it's on such a smaller scale, like only having a minute to do what you need to do. But I'm gonna be real, like, you never realize how long a minute actually is until you're like trying to make progress in a video game in a minute.
I feel that, yeah.
Like after that, you're just like, shit, a minute's actually a pretty long time, you know? But and then like some things persist between loops, you know? Some things do, some things don't, but it's, and they get some cool like puzzle solving mileage out of it. It seems like it's going to be pretty short. Like I think I'm already like almost done with it. And it seems like it's pretty easy platinum as well, if you're into that sort of thing like I am. But it's, I don't know, like it's charming. It's got good writing. I really like the music of it. It's got good music. And again, I've already really, so like, for example, it's got a good kind of item loop as well. So like you have to find these coins in the world to afford this pair of shoes that allow you to run faster and get more mileage out of that minute that you have.
Okay.
And with that, that's the only way you can get through this like maze with enough time to get a heart. You know, there's like just stuff like that. You can find this watering can that you need to like douse some fire to you know, and again, this is all happening in minute-long loops, and I don't know, it's interesting. You'd have to see it really to fully grasp, I guess, what I'm talking about. Either see it or play it for yourself. But it's an interesting take on that sort of Majora's Mask idea. I don't know that I've ever seen anybody do it on that scale, because a lot of times there's this game, I forget what it was called, but there's a game like that, but you had ways to like increase your time. There is, as far as I've seen, no way to increase your time in minute. You always got a minute, you know? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's good. I might report back if I have anything else interesting to say as I play it and beat it and platinum it. But it's good, and it's a little indie game, and you know, it's worth supporting. I think it's like $10 or something like that.
Okay.
It's on, I think, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. I wish it were on Switch. It's like the perfect thing to have on Switch. Like, why the fuck are you not on Switch?
I think most indie games are kind of perfect for the Switch.
The Switch is such a great indie system, and that's something that I'll talk about as we move into the main topic here. I guess it's actually a pretty good segue. So thank you for that, Todd.
You're welcome.
We've got a list for you guys today, and I think we're actually going to do this in a two-part kind of thing. So we're going to do the first part of it this week, and then next week's topic will be the next part. So we're going to do a kind of a list of our ranking the home consoles this week. And essentially, the parameters for this list, you know, we love a good parameter, Todd. We love a good list parameter. Our parameters for this list are that it has to be one that we've spent, consoles that we've spent significant time with.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was you asked me like, so are we legit ranking them all? I'm like, we're not going to be ranking the fucking Nokia N-Gage, Todd. The Intellivision.
That's like when I was like first looking at like the Wikipedia page. I was like, I've never even touched half these.
Yeah, there've been a lot, especially in the early days.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not going to be like, yeah, my number 30 is the Magnavox Odyssey. No, yeah, it's going to be the parameters are game consoles, home consoles that we've actually spent a significant amount of time with / owned. I have a few more than Todd. I think you said you have 13, right?
I have 13 in total. Yeah.
Okay, I have 16. So what I'll do is I'll go through. We'll start with mine. We'll work our way up to number 1. I'll start with my numbers like 16, 15, 14, and 13, and from there we'll start bouncing back and forth.
That sounds fine.
Sounds good to you? All right, we'll start. My number 16 is the Sega Genesis. Is this on your list?
No, because I never fucked with it.
Okay, I wasn't sure if you had or not. I was torn between this and my next one, which was going to be at the bottom, because, the Sega Genesis is a good system. Like, I don't think any of these systems on my list are bad systems. Like, it's the reason I love and play video games is because these have all been really good systems. I don't know. The Genesis is good. It's definitely the one that I've spent the least amount of time with. I originally was going to have the Atari 2600 on here because I have messed with that, but like that's a cop out. like it was like my mom had a boyfriend like when I was really little who like had an Atari 2600 and I would play like Pitfall on it. That was pretty much my extent with it. So it would have been stupid to have that on my list. But Sega Genesis, man, like good console. It even has some good games. You could talk about the Sonics and the Altered Beasts and the Rystar and the Disney games that were back on Genesis, like Aladdin and Lion King and stuff like that. Even though I still maintain that the superior port of Lion King is the Super Nintendo version. But I do have some good Genesis memories. Never owned one myself. When I was little, we stayed with these folks for a little while. That were I'm trying to not give any names, but I'm trying to be vague but still specific. A close friend of ours, a close friend of my mom's at the time. It was her like nephews and nieces and stuff. We were staying with them for a little while, and they had a Sega Genesis. And that's kind of where I got exposed to it and some of the games and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's my number 16. My number 15 is actually where the Dreamcast falls for me. The Dreamcast I know is on your list somewhere.
Oh, fucking in your life. It's high. I will say this. It's higher up.
Yeah. Look, the Dreamcast is a good system. I just don't think it had a chance to really shine. The Dreamcast was only on the market for like a year.
Yeah.
And it had these great games, like the first Jet Set Radio is on there. You got to talk about Power Stone. The first Shenmue.
Ooh, don't get me started on that shit.
Yeah, I mean the Dreamcast has great games, and I think it was actually really ahead of its time with its online functionality and stuff like that. But I think the controller is like pretty bad.
That is honestly like one of the weakest points. I mentioned it like was it like yesterday when we were talking like we should do like a controller episode. I'm like because I can talk about the Dreamcast for a while because that thing is shit.
And that's something we may touch on actually, but like it's a weird. I respect it because it's a weird system, and it actually even though it was only on the market for that short amount of time, it actually did get some good games out there in that short amount of time. Crazy Taxi, first Soul Calibur,
Yep.
Some good games on the Dreamcast in a very short amount of time, and that's why, like I this was one of the ones that I felt bad about having so low. But I had to have it kind of low.
Well, you had to make some decisions for the other consoles.
Yeah, this is a fucking hard list. I challenge you, if you're passionate about video games, you've been playing video games for a long time, I challenge you to make this list. It's hard. It's fucking hard. My number 14. Oh, this is going to be controversial, Todd. This is going to be one that might piss some people off. My number 14 is the Xbox One.
Hey, guess what? Mine's pretty low too, so don't worry about it.
And this is another one that I feel bad about because like Microsoft is really, they're trying hard. They're doing some good things with the Xbox One. Like if you think about it, like the fact that I can get on my Xbox One and play 360 and original Xbox games on it, like that's really cool. And they've made that work. Like Sony acts like they can't make that work. Like Microsoft made that shit work, you know? And I respect them for that. And then like the idea of the Xbox Games Pass is like crazy, and I don't know how they're making money off of it, but like
right,
that console was just such a mess from the start. And then when you couple it with the fact that like they have not released, I mean they literally, and the Xbox One X is really impressive and stuff like that, but software wise, just in terms of first party, like the games, the things that matter to me, the fucking video games that Microsoft has released in the past several years have either been like really the last really good Xbox One exclusive that I can point to is probably Sunset Overdrive.
Oh God.
Or Gears 4. Like one of those two. I enjoyed both of those games, and I like the new Halo games and stuff like that. But like that, it feels like an eternity ago, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have not had an Xbox in about a year and a half now. And
it's probably about the same for me, honestly.
And I don't miss it at all. You know, like it made no impact on my life positively or negatively. You know, like it was a net neutral, the Xbox One. And it bums me out because as a successor to the 360, I think it's actually done some good things, but Microsoft has shifted focus as a company, and ultimately like their shift in focus has worked for some people, but it did not work on me. Like I need the games, you know.
That's actually a thing. Like a lot of people, there's people that care more about the power of their consoles. I'm like, dude, just give me some games. Like fuck. Like I think me and you have like kind of shit on the Xbox One for like a while on this show.
Yeah,
so.
I'm not trying to sound like I have some sort of like Sony and Nintendo bias. It's just because I really do, and we'll talk about this later as we get higher up on the list. The Xbox 360 is extremely high on my list. The original Xbox is extremely high on my list. I'm a fan of the Xbox brand. I'm just not a fan of the way Microsoft has handled themselves in the Xbox One era. In respect to the games, I think they've done some really consumer-friendly choices with the Xbox One. And I think that they're trying to right the ship in a lot of ways. But like when it comes to the fucking games, like that's what matters to me. Like, and they're not delivering on that. They put out Sea of Thieves recently, right? Which is like the only major first party release that they've done in a minute. And that hit the water with a resounding thud. You know what I mean? Like people are already like over that game. You know what I mean? It just bums me out. And then like Crackdown 3, where the fuck is that? You know?
It's fucking never coming out.
I don't know, man. It just like I want an Xbox One. I really do. And I have a lot of friends, like you said. A lot of people do care more about the hardware side of things. Like I have a lot of friends who have an Xbox One X for the power and the 4K and all that, and they love playing their third-party games on it. And I'm like, that's great. I'm happy for you, but I buy a console for the exclusives, you know? Anyway, moving on. We'll do my number 13, and then we'll start working you into the fold here. This is another one. This is another one. This pains me. My number 13 is the Wii U. The Wii U bums me out because I do legitimately love that console. Like, and there are some great games on it, most of which are being ported to Switch now. But it just didn't. Nobody gave it a chance. It was kind of a half step, honestly.
Yeah.
Power wise, it wasn't too much more powerful than a Wii. You know, in terms of the gamepad, you know, was kind of like the gamepad was kind of an unfulfilled promise. Couldn't go too far with it, you know.
And I think on the Wikipedia page, it's like the Wii U and the Switch are in like the same generation.
Yeah,
which is weird to me.
That is weird. Yeah, and it didn't, you know, like it just sold abysmally, and like the marketing was mixed because like why are you gonna call it the Wii U? Like it was confusing to people. Like, is this a new console or no? You know?
Yeah.
I really it pains me because I do think there are some great games on the Wii U and games like Mario Maker that could only really be on the Wii U.
Yeah.
Now that they have the Switch, they could pull it off as well, but it would be kind of weird because you can't really take it on the go with just one screen, you know? But I don't know. I got to pour one out for the Wii U because like it was kind of a failed experiment, but I still respect it for being an experiment, you know? And it did sort of pave the way. Like Nintendo kind of learned from their mistakes on the Wii U and kind of moved that over into Switch. And that's something we'll talk about later. What's your number 13?
I wonder if this will surprise you.
Okay.
My number 13 is actually the PS3.
Whoa, really?
I was never that big on the PlayStation 3, man, ever.
Wow.
Like,
okay.
Like I never enjoyed my time with it, and it's just like it's actually like recently, I got my PS3 back, and I was fucking with it again. I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't like a lot of things that the PS3 does. I don't like I don't like the controller. I don't like.
So what's your problem
I
with
still
the
like
controller?
the interface. You know what it is? It was before with the PS4. It fits my hand better. The PS4.
Well, the thing that's interesting, the DualShock, like the changes that they've made to the DualShock are like so minor over the years.
They're minor, but they're kind of like the change that they made to the PlayStation 4's controller was like vast for me, because that was actually one of my main issues on some real shit with like the 360 and the PS3 is I fucking hate the controller for PlayStation 3. I cannot enjoy myself with that tiny ass controller.
I think I don't think for me the controller wasn't tiny. The big problem for me is the triggers. Like I don't like those triggers at all, and I like that the PS4 fixed that and had actual triggers. You know?
Oh, that is a big issue. But honestly, it's just I just didn't like the interface for it. Like I don't. There's a lot of things I just didn't really care for the PlayStation 3 personally.
The cross media bar. Like
all that
the
shit.
actual dashboard and stuff. I was fine with that. I actually like the cross media bar. Like I actually think it's pretty like clean, and I liked that it gave you like folders to sort things with, and I actually kind of liked that it had synergy with the PSP and stuff.
Yeah, again, the PlayStation 3 did cool shit, but it's just like at the same time. For me.
I think the PS3 kind of got there's some good exclusives, but I think it's kind of like too little too late. If you look at the grand scheme of things, I think the PS3's exclusive library is actually kind of shit.
What the fuck was the? Yeah.
I mean, it had great stuff
Obviously,
like
like,
Uncharted and Last of Us and stuff like that, which you didn't play until
And it's
PS4.
like I never played those until like PS4.
Right.
So it's like,
so those aren't even like necessarily PS3 memories for you.
nope.
Like
They're PS4 memories.
for me, those are PS3 memories for me, but I also think of series like Infamous, on PS3, Resistance,
It's like I've played those games, and I actually enjoyed the first Resistance. Actually,
yeah, I really like Resistance. Really the whole series.
yeah, the whole series is like it was a fun little playthrough. I think I played through the first Infamous. I didn't actually play the second one.
I really really like those games.
Yeah,
Those are like PS3 memories for me, and I like the PS3 overall. However, it is my number 12. So
that's funny.
I can't talk too much shit. I was surprised that it was gonna be that was so low on your list, but it is my number 12. So.
Honestly, like I'm gonna be real. Like the bottom end of my list can honestly, like, a lot of these could be rearranged, just depending on how I felt on the day.
Right.
So like if we did this list again, like and even next month, it'd probably be different.
Right.
Like the bottom half of this at least.
Right. So since we kind of like tag team that, and it was my number 12. What's your number 12?
My number 12 is actually the Wii U, and you kind of already like said everything that could be said about it.
Okay, that's
so
fair.
I was like,
I mean, how much? Because I know your Wii U, like you had
That's-
some issues with your shit, didn't you?
Oh my god, dude. So like I don't know, like the ass end of like the Wii U's life, like life for me was like I couldn't play shit.
Yeah, like we
Like,
weren't able
it
to play
just- it would-
Smash or Splatoon.
Dude, it would stop. It would legitimately stop reading everything. Like my disc looked fucking fine. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And like that's one of the main reasons I'm like so fucking ready for Smash to come out on Switch.
Yeah, I'm so
I was
ready
like,
for that, dude.
I've missed that shit. I've missed it.
Yeah.
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 I could not read anything. Like I couldn't like play any games like on like the last like couple months of that fucking thing. Like it's like you would always say, "I want to play some Smash." I'm like, "We'll try." Type shit.
We will attempt to. Okay. So my number 11 is the PS1. And this pains me.
Okay.
Because I really like the PS1. Here's the deal. I never actually owned a PS1 myself.
Yeah, it was my family's like so I never actually had one my damn self.
Yeah. I actually this belonged to my best friend growing up, and but I did spend a ton of time. Like I would frequently just go to his house for days, literally days, and we would sit there and just do full playthroughs of like the Final Fantasy games, Legend of Dragoon. I remember
Oh shit, I forgot. Which one is that game?
Legend of Dragoon.
Yeah, which one is that one?
It's
I swear to God.
I mean, it's a JRPG. I mean, I can't really describe it in a fancy way.
Did the characters have dragon wings on their back?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that game. I actually played the shit out of that.
Like a lot of those RPGs, it's on like fucking a million discs. Yeah, it's a good game. The friend that I'm referring to, he was like a master of Legend of Dragoon. Like that motherfucker, people used to pay him to do grindy shit on Legend of Dragoon at school.
God bless.
Like they would come to school with their PS1 memory card, and they would be like, "Hey, can you get my character to this level or whatever?" And give him the memory card, give him like $5, and he would come back, you know, with that shit on their memory card. It's pretty
bless.
good. What's your number 11?
Xbox One, and I think again, what else could be said about the Xbox One that we haven't already said?
Kind of tag team that. So
Yeah.
my number 10 is the Wii. And I love the Wii. I really do. I think the Wii's a great system. Obviously revolutionary for a lot of people with motion control and stuff like that. Has some great games. God, I mean, you're talking about like Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. These are some of the best games of all time. I really think it has a great library, but I think the reason I ended up ultimately putting it so low is and I worked at GameStop for 6 years. The sheer amount of garbage that is on the Wii, like the fucking trash, shovelware trash that is on. I mean, when you're looking at shit like Cletus's Redneck Jamboree and oh my god, like it's so bad. Like it's so bad. Some of the stuff that they allowed on the Wii, but I don't think that it can be overstated how revolutionary that was, and the concept of virtual console, which debuted on the Wii. Like, there's a great story that I love from Jeff Keighley. After Satoru Iwata passed away, he told a story where when they first unveiled the Wii, like that E3 where they first unveiled the Wii, he was flying back home from E3 on a plane, and I guess Iwata actually was seated next to him on the plane. And he asked Iwata, like, what do you think is the best thing about the Wii? And Iwata just so happened in his coat pocket to have a Wii remote, a prototype Wii remote, in his coat pocket, and he pulled it out and he flipped it to the side. And when you flip the Wii remote to the side, you know, it looks like an NES controller.
Yeah.
You know, I love that. And that was kind of him hinting at the early days of like virtual console. And anyway, so I love the Wii. The Wii represents a lot of really good things and has a lot of really good games, but
Yeah.
I think Nintendo allowed so much trash, like just publishing arms allowed so much fucking trash on the Wii that it did kind of diminish the magic of the brand for me a little bit. Anyway, what's your number 10?
PlayStation 1.
Okay.
Now, It's like my memory is like absolute shit, but like I do know that I have really fond memories of the PlayStation 1 because like I used to go like I live across the street from my grandfather.
Right.
I used to chill over there like every day, just about.
Right.
And I'd just be sitting in the back room, just chilling, like watching TV and playing like the PlayStation 1, just all fucking day, basically.
What kind of games do you play on PS1?
That's the thing. My memory shit. Like, Legend of Dragoon, like that fucking clicked in my mind.
Right.
But like that was like there was that one. Again, there's like if you sat there and if I looked at a list of PlayStation games, I'd be like, oh, yeah, that. But like my memory is absolute dog shit from like
Yeah. Yeah,
like
for
that
me,
time.
PS1, like that shit is defined by like final like RPGs, like
Yeah,
the Final Fantasy games.
without a doubt.
Yeah, yeah. Legend of Dragoon. Did you ever play Dino Crisis?
I think I did.
Yeah, it's like a third-person kind of like shooter, such as they were on PS1. It was kind of like how the Resident Evil games, like that really shitty, like you had to stop to shoot, kind of thing.
God.
But yeah, and it was like single screen, like, and yeah, I really enjoyed Dino Crisis back in the day. And then yeah, the Castlevania games on PS1, like I have really fond PS1 memories.
Yeah.
Like PS1's a great system. And you know what was really funny is because the PS1 games were printed on CDs. When we discovered that you could put the games, some games you could put them in your CD player and listen to the soundtrack. Oh, mind blowing.
That's a thing?
Yes. For
Bro,
some PS1 games.
I didn't even know that shit.
Yeah, that's something that some developers were able to do with some PS1 games because they're printed on CDs. You could put them in your CD player and just listen to the soundtrack.
That's crazy. I didn't
It was
actually
awesome.
know that. Damn.
Yeah, it was awesome. My number 9 is the original Xbox. Man, I'll never forget when I first got the original Xbox. And it's actually funny. My dad is now a listener to the show, so I wonder if he remembers this. Shout out to my dad if he's listening. My dad, I remember it was the Christmas that the original Xbox came out, and of course, I was younger and I was a teenager, and of course I was hoping to get one, and they did the whole shit where like. Kind of like everybody's done opening presents. Oh, but I think there's one more, type of thing. And he brings out the original Xbox, and man, I'll never forget like playing that game in Jet Set Radio Future as a launch title. Oh my god! And I've talked ad nauseum about Jet Set Radio Future, but yeah, it was a Christmas present for me. I remember playing it. I remember playing Halo when it first came out. With close friends, like, and then like for years to come, obviously. I mean, what can you say about the games on original Xbox, man? And then when Xbox Live was introduced, like get out of here.
My dad was a beta tester for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I remember like at like 6-year anniversary, they gave him like a founder gamer card picture, or a gamer picture.
Right.
Yeah. He used that shit for like life, basically.
It's cool. Like like Halo 2, Xbox Live, like there was something about those days. Like you're talking about like how, and we'll get to this later. But you're talking about how the 360 was kind of like your time kind of thing.
That's kind of it is when I like kind of like went hardcore into like gaming, like more so than like I've ever done before.
I feel like the early 2000s, like that was my time, kind of thing. Like the late 90s, early 2000s, that was when it was like I never felt more up gaming's ass than I did like back then. Like that shit for me was like that was like when I was at my prime with video games. Because God, I cannot tell you, and we'll get into this more as we get further in the list. But just the sheer amount of time I spent on my original Xbox and some of those great games. I mean, you talk about that was when I first played like Morrowind, and it's like, fucking mind blowing, Anyway, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is the PlayStation 2.
Okay.
Now, you'll see that like most of the PlayStations are like down towards the bottom of my list. That's because I wasn't like heavily into the PlayStation games up until
you weren't really big until PS4, right?
Yep. PS4 is
Yeah.
like the first like Sony console that I really got into, and it's just I don't know. I think that's just how I was back then. I think that's also because again, most of the older ones are like the ones that my dad bought.
Right.
Like I'd jump on and play them a little bit, and I'd have fun with it, but it'd be more of those things of like, I kind of prefer some other shit.
Right. Did you not? You just didn't play the PS2 too much at all, or?
Yeah, but it's like I did, but it's just like I played it more than probably the PlayStation 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was over at my grandpa's house, and the PlayStation 2 was still over here, and I'd like play that during like like the summer and shit like that. And again, my memories are shit. Like, dude, I'm gonna be real. I don't know how the fuck. Like, I don't remember anything past like 13.
Like fucking Frankie Muniz over here.
Yeah, some real shit. I lost my memories of my childhood. Something happened to me.
Hang on a second. You don't remember when you started on Todd in the Middle?
Fucking title of
That's
this episode.
Some real shit. Todd in the Middle. I like this new trend of you calling what the title of the episode's gonna be.
Well, usually I'm right. Lately, I've been right.
My number 8 is the NES, the original Nintendo Entertainment System. The first console I ever played. To my memory, very early. I'm talking like 3-4 years old. This is my earliest memory of video games. Is playing our Uncle Aaron's Nintendo Entertainment System, the original Legend of Zelda.
There you go.
This is my my very first gaming memories that I have. I may have played something. I think there's actually a video. I think Uncle Aaron had a Dragon's Lair arcade cabinet for some reason.
Is that real?
I think so. Because there's a video. I've seen this video. And Granny may still have it. Next time I see her, next time I'm in Kentucky, I might ask if she still has this. There's a VHS home video of me, I'm talking like still in diapers, like being held by somebody, playing, and it may have been Uncle Aaron, playing on a Dragon's Lair arcade cabinet in Granny's house. Like, it was in Granny's house. So, I think Uncle Aaron actually owned, like, a Dragon's Lair arcade cabinet, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to ask him about that. Maybe my memory of that is wrong, but it was Dragon's Lair, and it was an arcade cabinet, and there's a video of somebody holding me and, like, letting me play it. So, Dragon's Lair may have been my actual first game, but the first game that I remember playing was Zelda on NES. And, I mean, maybe the NES might have the greatest video game library of all time. Between, like, the Castlevanias and the Ninja Gaidens and the, the Mega Man games. God, all those classic Mega Man games. Mario, Zelda, Metroid. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on for the NES. I mean, it's so great. I mean, everything that we have now, we owe to the NES. You know what I mean?
Of course, yeah. Yeah.
And that controller still, that, like, even it's obviously very, like, rudimentary and rigid and stuff like that, but it still feels so good to have an NES controller in your hands, you know? And I fucking love that system. Anyway, what's your number 8?
The Wii.
Okay.
And you've kind of covered it, but, like, honestly, I do actually have, like, good memories of the Wii, though. Like, overall. Yeah. Just because, and also, I also hate the Wii at the same time.
Okay.
Because it began the motion gaming craze.
Yes. It was important, though, because motion controls
it is important, like, yeah. But it began the whole shit with, like, Kinect and shit.
I guess. I mean, Kinect, you know, but that,
I know,
that
Kinect is like a different thing, but it's just like, I do think, like, the Wii started it.
But you could make the argument, though, that without the Wii, they may not have been able to figure out virtual reality very well. You know?
That's some real shit. Like, I think, yeah, the Wii's very important for, like, that aspect of things. Like, if you actually, like, really think about, like, just, like, the hardware like, behind the motion gaming.
Because a lot of virtual reality does require motion controllers, you know, like the Wii remote. So
God, it's such an important thing that we both talk about different things with this list. Because now we just got into a whole VR talk. No.
Yeah, I am not experienced enough with VR to speak authoritatively on it.
WarioWare was on Wii, right?
There
Oh,
was
there
one
was a
on Wii.
WarioWare game.
There was a WarioWare game on Wii. I forget which one it was.
I don't give a shit what it was, but I love that game. I remember playing that shit all day.
Oh, the
You
one
look-
on
you
Wii
looking
you
it up?
did? Oh, it was Smooth
Yeah,
Moves.
Dude, I love Smooth
Yeah.
Moves, dude. I love that shit.
It was okay. Smooth Moves is pretty good. Like, it's probably one of the better ones. Nothing beats the original WarioWare on Game Boy
no,
Advance.
not at all. But like, it was a fun time on the Wii, man. Just a fun time.
The Super Nintendo, SNES.
Okay.
Basically take everything that I said about the NES with my last listing, and just improve it. Essentially, it really is. You know, it's called the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and that's basically exactly what it is. It is everything the Nintendo Entertainment System was, but supercharged. Like, you really enjoyed the 2D Zelda game? Okay, let's perfect it with A Link to the Past. You really enjoyed, the 2D Mario games? Let's perfect it with Mario World.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all these classic RPGs like Super Mario RPG, Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger. I mean, these incredible RPGs. Did you enjoy any of the RPGs? They kind of wrote shitty RPGs that were on NES. Cool. We're going to perfect them and make them some of the best games of all time on Super Nintendo. I still think when you look at Super Nintendo, like the graphics that they were able to achieve on Super Nintendo with Yoshi's Island, like Yoshi's Island is still, to my mind, one of the prettiest games. Like, I stack that against any other game that comes out today. Like, that game looks incredible to me. And then, like, even games that tried to look realistic with, like, the 3DFX chip, like the Donkey Kong Country games. Those games still, I mean, yeah, it looks a little shitty, but, like, you look at the way that Donkey Kong moves in those old Super Nintendo games, and, like, it looks more realistic than some of the shit that they're putting out,
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, it's an incredible system. Like the Super Nintendo, I gotta shout that system out.
Of course.
And really happy that I have the SNES Classic, because I love just turning that thing on and just dicking around with it. What's your number 7?
The Dreamcast. Now, I'm gonna be real. The Dreamcast could probably be higher for me because I do actually love the Dreamcast.
Yeah, I respect the shit out of that system.
I love the Dreamcast like so much, and it's actually I'm happy I could talk about it again, like myself. So the whole deal with like how you could legit get like almost every single one of those games like downloaded onto a disc and shit.
Right.
Like
right.
I think I owned every single Dreamcast game, and I think I got because it's like I don't have like the actual like copies of it. Like I have like they're all on like burner like CDs and type shit. You know what I mean?
Wow, you still got it?
I could honestly probably find it. There was a plastic container with like a bunch of just CDs.
That's hilarious.
I think I have like every single fucking game. That's the thing though; it's a pain in the ass to actually find out what the fuck you want to play, because you gotta like they have it like written down, but it's like you gotta dig through that shit. And
yeah, when you're looking at them all, yeah.
Oh man, like I swear I think we had about every single game that came out on Dreamcast.
That's fair. You got any weird shout outs?
Oh,
Or is
shit.
that
You shouted out.
lost
You
to
basically shouted out like my favorite game already. Like Power Stone was my
Power Stone?
shit, dude.
Yeah,
Like-
great game.
I would love like a new Power Stone in a weird way.
Weirdly enough, the closest we've ever gotten to a modern Power Stone, and this is going to be a really weird pull, God of War Ascension.
Really?
The multiplayer aspect, God of War Ascension included a multiplayer mode that was basically Power Stone.
Really?
And like it was pretty good. Like it was actually really solid. The multiplayer aspect of God of War Ascension was actually better than the single player aspect of it. And yeah, it was basically an updated like modern take on Power Stone.
I kind of want to watch videos of that to see how that actually is.
Go look up some gameplay, because I bet you would be surprised at how good it actually is. And it's like it does make you wonder, like, wow, like why is nobody actually doing that? Like, I could see if you took the mechanics of Power Stone and made an interesting like universe with interesting characters and made it free to play.
Oh, dude, I think it would.
I
work.
could
I think
see
it would
that
do
being
well.
like, yeah, I could see that being like a popular genre.
Because like
You know what I mean?
Power Stone did such a like interesting thing with like the fighting genre. You know what I mean? It's just like it's like just they give you a map and it's just like a third person just fighting game, and it's just like it shouldn't work as well as it did. This is the Power Stone topic now, bitch.
I really, really, really like Power Stone, and yeah, you should look up God of War Ascension multiplayer videos.
I'm probably gonna do this I'm probably gonna do that once we're done recording, actually.
Yeah, because I'm telling you that is basically what that is. It's basically modern Power Stone.
God bless.
My number 6. This is actually where the PS4 falls for me. I'm sure we're gonna talk about it more later when we get to you. The PS4 is just a great system. It took this current console generation and ran off with it. With aplomb. I mean, it's not even a contest. Like, I think it literally has outsold the Xbox One 2-1. I mean, it is a clear winner. And yeah, Sony has done some things to fuck up. I've talked before about how they pissed me off with the PS4 Pro. But by and large, and I think this year is going to be a great example of it, the amount of games that they've put out for the thing. Mm-hmm. The good first party games. I mean, that's what this is ultimately all about, and I think the PS4 has done that really, really well. I think the DualShock 4 is an incredible controller. I think they've finally figured out the online aspect, which was pretty much broken on PS3. To me, the PS4 is the perfect realization of what a modern home console should be, and there are things that we should improve upon, obviously, the next go around. But I think PS4 is the most solid outing that PlayStation has ever had right out the box. Mm-hmm. And I really like it. It is my primary gaming machine, alongside my Switch, which we'll get to later. But yeah, it's a really, really, really great system, and it's a great place to play third party games. They pretty much, the PS3 was good at some things. And then the PS4 was like, okay, let's be good at everything now. Yep. You know? What's your number 6?
The Xbox One. Now, do you think it would be higher?
I thought it would be lower.
You know, that's the deal. It could have been lower. Again, you asked me this like we do this list again, it probably would be lower on some real shit.
Yeah, I actually thought it'd be lower.
I like towards the upper echelon. I was like kind of thinking like how I felt about the consoles personally and like the memories I have with it.
Right.
And a lot of this is like really I played a lot of games like at that point with like I'd like do shit with my dad a lot, and that's back when when he was still like playing games.
Oh! I'm sorry. You mean the original Xbox?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the original. Oh yeah. Oh sorry. Yeah. Yeah, my dumbass. Yeah. Xbox.
This is why the Xbox One is a shitty name for a console.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's real shit. I didn't even realize what I said until you just called me out on it. Yeah, the original Xbox.
Okay.
God,
yeah. That makes sense.
That's just really solidified the fact that how shitty the Xbox One is as a name. God.
Okay. Right, that makes more sense. Sorry.
So yeah, the original Xbox. Let me say it like that. The original Xbox, I had a lot of fond memories, just playing shit with my dad. And again,
oh yeah,
a lot of cool shit with like, that's the beginning of like, Xbox Live. And then like, my dad beta tested that shit. So it was like really cool to see how that was like working out.
Right.
And to see shit.
It is cool to be on the ground floor of something like that.
Oh yeah. It was cool to watch as a kid. I was like, this shit's awesome. Like what?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember
I love that system.
Again, it could have easily been like the Xbox One is very low. We already talked about it, but the original Xbox is like not quite at the top, but that's all right.
It's funny because like another thing that I love about just that kind of early 2000s era of gaming, it was the total like Mountain Dew and Doritos and shit. Like when you turn on the original Xbox, that's like this. It looks like it's like this crater, like this sort of earthquake happening, and this green magma exploding, and
it's like I remember like that's back when like the dashboards were like really simple. I think like the dashboard for like Xbox was like this black and green, like sort of like matrixy looking ass shit.
Yeah, it was like black and green, and like it was weird because like the pieces of the dashboard menu was like connected to the Xbox's like beating heart by like sinew. It was weird. Like I don't know. There's something special to me about that era in gaming. Like I kind of loved like how like stupid and over the top like it was a gamer, a totally rad gamer, is I love that shit.
Yeah.
I live for that shit. Okay, we're on I guess number 5 now. We're getting into the top 5. This is where the Nintendo Switch falls for me. Did you think it was going to be higher?
I did actually.
Yeah, this is where the Switch falls for me, and it would have been higher. It was a pain. This top 5 was really, really hard.
But you know what's funny though?
What?
The Switch is my 5 too, though.
Nice. Okay, so we can tag team this. So yeah, I love the Switch. I mean, I know I've spent more time with my Switch than you have, but I mean, you spent a lot of time with Breath of the Wild and stuff.
I want to play my Switch more. That's the thing. Like, I have like Mario Odyssey that I have not fucking touched.
You gotta do it.
I know. I just need to just fucking just sit there and play it and enjoy
That's honestly
myself.
what it is. That's you just gotta force yourself to do it, because I have things like that too, where like I just have this imagined roadblock in my head, but once I actually turn it on...
That's exactly the thing. Like, it's like I feel like I just can't find the time. But it's like I could fucking find the time. It's just play other shit.
Yeah. Just literally, just the next time you're about to turn on Far Cry and fucking put your finger up your ass for 5 hours, just instead just turn on your Switch and just put Mario Odyssey in and just start. Once you actually start,
I think once I start, I won't stop until I'm done. Like,
yeah, I think you'll find it hard to put down once you actually start. Yeah, the Switch is great. I the magic has not been lost on me yet. Like, I thought that, the Switch has been out for over a year, and I thought that it would stop feeling magical at some point to take it out and then suddenly be playing your full home console game on the go. It felt a little weird to put it on the home console list because it is also a handheld. But ultimately, I've played, I would say, 50-50 between both.
Yeah.
So, and I couldn't imagine making this list and not shouting out the Switch on it.
Of course, man.
It's just so great. Like, and it's a great place for indie games. It's become like my favorite way to play indie games. I love it. Like Breath of the Wild is incredible. I mean, the first year of the Switch has been one of the best launch years of any system ever.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can I say about it? I love the UI. I love how snappy and fast the UI is. Does it have problems? Sure, but it's still very new. And honestly, the system would probably be higher. Well, like the lack of a virtual console.
Is that still is a thing? Yeah.
Yeah, there's no virtual console yet. I think things could be improved with the online a little bit. I don't think games have really taken full advantage of that. I think Nintendo has taken like half steps towards things like kind of more modern concepts like video recording software built into the Switch. They've added that with like these quick little like up to like 30-second videos and stuff, but get with it. Like, where's my Netflix app? Where's Twitch?
Yeah. Like, honestly, the moment Nintendo like really like goes like crazy with like the modernization of like, it'd be cool if you can just sit there and just stream your shit from the Switch.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be insane.
If I could do that, I'd be streaming Mario and Zelda and shit all the time.
Yeah, some real shit.
I mean, I would love to be able to stream natively from my Switch. I just, I really want to see where the Switch goes, because I think that it could be higher if it were on the market for longer. The more time I spend with it, the more I think I'm gonna love it. But even just in its first year, it's my number 5. Anything you wanted to add to that?
Again, you're the Nintendo god here. You just went in on it.
Yeah, my there's a lot of Nintendo consoles as you get higher.
I already know.
So I guess I'll say my number 4 is the Xbox 360. This is where that kind of fell for me, and I know you're gonna have some more things to say about it.
Yep.
As we get higher, but the 360.
I can technically tag team it a bit right now, but I'm gonna let you.
Yeah,
do your thing.
well, I mean, considering I know where it falls for you, I do want to give you the opportunity to take the reins with it when it comes. So I'm not gonna harp on it too much. But the 360 just it is sort of similar to, like I said about the Super Nintendo. It took everything about the original Xbox and made it better. Like that was when I met some friends that I still have to this day, like some of my best friends, And that was when you and I really were able to reconnect in a big
Yeah.
bad way and start playing games together and talking like on a daily basis and stuff. Because if it weren't for the 360, you and I might not be recording this podcast right now. You know, honestly.
That's
Like-
why it should be higher up on your list. No, just
If it honestly though, if it weren't for the fact that
Yeah.
we were able to like, you know, hang out as often as we were and play like GTA and Halo and Call of Duty and stuff like that, like
I think back when I first added you, you had your original gamer tag. What the fuck was it?
Evelus,
Evelus. There it is.
which was the name that I, you know, it's funny because it was just I sort of like, as the years have gone by, I have deconstructed where that came from. Like that was kind of my nerdy name that I would use in like RPGs and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it was EVALICE. And in Final Fantasy Tactics, the world that Final Fantasy Tactics takes place in, and the games that follow that same universe, is called Ivalice. And it's that, but it's IVALICE. And so I think mentally, my brain just changed the I to an E and was like, oh, it's a totally original fantasy name. But yeah, great 360 memories. I'll let you take the reins on that some more later. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is actually the GameCube.
Okay.
Now, I know this can definitely be higher for you.
Oh yes, we haven't touched on it yet.
But again, like, it's like I could talk about, like, I have, like, again, fond memories of GameCube, like, you know, like fucking Super Mario, like Sunshine and shit. I played the shit out of that.
Great game, underrated game.
Played Animal Crossing before you hipster. Before I'm gonna be hipster about it. Played Animal Crossing before you fucking got all up its ass.
I spent enough time with New Leaf to, I think, eclipse the amount of time you spent with it on GameCube. Just saying.
You know, it definitely did, because again, I was a kid playing that shit. Like, I played the shit out of it for like a kid, you know.
Put like 500 hours in a New Leaf.
Oh god, that's disgusting. Like, my sister actually was like more into Animal Crossing than I ever was, but like I really loved the original Animal Crossing.
Oh man, there's been substantial rumors that a new Animal Crossing for Switch is going to be unveiled soon.
See, I feel like I might want to jump back into it on the Switch.
Dude, I'm talking substantial, like almost irrefutable rumors that like by E3 there's probably going to be a new Animal Crossing announced.
Damn.
And when that happens, my world, that at that point I'm going to have to buy another Switch because my fiance plays too.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we're not going to be able to share. So
oh, yeah, that shit's not happening because it's the sheer amount of time that you put into those games.
Yeah.
With like New Leaf and shit.
Yeah, 'cause she put just as much time, if not more time, into Animal Crossing as I did.
This is like, honestly, I remember like the GameCube is just like, it was just a really overall like good system.
Oh yeah.
And it like honestly probably could have been like one more higher on my list, honestly. But like the next one is more important to me. So
That's fair. My number 3 actually. Oh, sorry. Did you have something else to say?
no, that was it. You're good.
Okay. My number 3 is this is where the PS2 falls for me.
Okay.
In terms of sheer hours spent, the PS2 is easily my most played video game console. This is another one. I wonder if my dad remembers this, if he's listening. He bought my first exposure to the PS2. He he'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he bought our PS2 off of like a friend of his, like a military friend of his or a work friend of his. And I remember he brought it home. He had spent like $100 or something like that, and he bought the PS2, and it came with, whoever he bought it from also gave him Grand Theft Auto 3, Final Fantasy X, and I think a racing game, like maybe Gran Turismo 3 or something like that. And then I started playing it. I started playing it with Final Fantasy X, and just fell in love with that game and spent way too much time with it. And my dad would not let us play Grand Theft Auto 3 for obvious reasons. And then he found out later that we had been sneaking and playing it anyway. My sister Eden and I had been like playing it anyway in secret. So he was just like, "Fuck it, I guess." So there was that, and then like and then what really changed it all for me was when I bought the first Kingdom Hearts, and then everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. But even beyond that, I mean, just the PS2 was just great. I mean, it was revolutionary to be able to play DVDs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was really the first like true multimedia home console, and I really love that about the PS2. But God, like, if you actually look at the library, like the PS2 was such a long running video game console, like it was around for so fucking long that it just, by sheer attrition, had like a ton of games. But if you look at the grand scheme of it, first party games are actually kind of few and far between on PS2. It was all about that good third party support.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is an era, like I said before, that PS2, GameCube, original Xbox era, that was it felt like that was my time, and the PS2 was my kind of most played console in that era. So anyway, what's your number 3?
This is actually my first introduction to like video games. Really, is the Nintendo 64.
Very nice, very nice.
Like this is like again, my memory is absolute ass. It's like this is like out of the vague memories of like apparently my tortured childhood because I can't remember shit.
Yeah.
The Nintendo 64 was kind of like my go-to, like that, GoldenEye, all that shit.
Oh yeah.
Fucking Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, classic.
That,
I mean, some of the best games of all time came out on Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
The fun machine, they call it, Todd.
The fun machine.
Yeah, that was
the memories of blowing the cartridge.
Oh, of course. Of course, that was introduced really from the beginning.
I know, it's always been a thing, but it's, what's funny is like you were never supposed to do it.
Yeah, they told you weren't supposed to do it, but that shit worked.
That shit worked.
Yeah, that was what they called it, the fun machine.
Is that really what they called it?
That. Yeah. Literally on the Nintendo 64 box.
Get the
if you look at the Nintendo 64 box, it literally says the fun machine.
I love it.
I have a shirt actually, which is like a deconstructed N64 blueprint, and
nice.
And that shirt says the fun machine on it.
I love it. That's awesome. Yeah.
My number 2 is the Nintendo GameCube.
Okay.
This is where the GameCube falls for me because from the weird like third party games like something like Eternal Darkness, for example, to the first party games like Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Mario Sunshine, any of the Kirby, like Kirby Air Ride, Mario Kart Double Dash, these amazing first party games.
Dash.
That game's great. Like I fucking love Double Dash. Amazing first party games. Really, what drives it over the edge to me, and then like the console. If you actually look at a GameCube, it's kind of amazing how small it is.
That's some real shit, actually.
And then like the discs are these tiny, cute little discs. Yeah. I mean, Smash Brothers Melee. I mean, the list goes on and on. And then and this is something we may talk about more in the future. But it also houses my favorite controller of all time. That GameCube controller.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it looks like a fucked up Lego homunculus abomination, but like
it works though.
It feels no controller feels better in your hand to me than that. Like the way the thumbsticks are laid out is perfect. Is exactly where your thumbs want to go when you're holding a controller. The triggers are snappy and responsive. I love the clickiness of the buttons. Great controller. We'll talk about it more later.
You love the way that click feels?
I love that good click feel, Todd. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is the PS4, which I think you saw coming. So the PS4 is honestly like, from my list, you can tell like PlayStation's pretty fucking low on my list up until this point.
Right.
And I have just fallen in love with this fucking console. It could have easily... no, it couldn't have easily. It could have been in like a bizarro world, like my number 1. But it is like my main gaming machine, just as it is for you, for the most part. And it's definitely It's definitely the best out of this current generation for me.
Oh yeah.
And just off the sheer like amount of games it has, and it has basically my favorite game of all time on it, and that's actually the reason I bought it. Like I probably wouldn't have bought the PS4 if Bloodborne wasn't an exclusive. And little did I know that game was going to become my favorite game of all time, but it did. So it's kind of always gonna. I think the PS4 is always gonna have a special place in my heart just because of that, because it houses my favorite game. But there's just a lot of things that I love about it. Like overall, like it's just you kind of said it. Like it kind of does what it just took everything that the PS3 did, but just did it better.
Right.
And especially coming from like the fact that the PS3 is like so fucking low on it. It's like it's legitimately last.
Right.
And then the PS4 is like number 2 for me. Like I can't believe like how much I actually love the PS4 compared, because like I was actually like worried like when I was buying the PS4. I was like, dude, I fucking hate the PS3. This shit's gonna suck. I'm gonna regret buying it. I did not. I've like I basically have my PS4 on like almost like 24 hours a day.
Shit. I mean the PS4. Yeah. I mean it's amazing how in a short time how many hours I've racked up on PS4.
Oh, dude.
And it's
like,
funny because you say, go ahead.
No, go. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say it's funny because you're saying like how your favorite game of all time is on PS4. Your second favorite game is about to be on PS4 too. Fucking Dark Souls.
Oh God, you're right.
Yep.
I fucking legit just I don't even know why. That's some real shit. Like that is my number 2. Like that's my number 2 favorite game. So that's like insane to me. The fact that I'm gonna be able to have like both of those.
Yeah.
And expect a full playthrough of that on Twitch.
Yeah. I think we're doing that. Yeah.
PS4
is great.
Do that. Fuck.
Yeah, PS4 is a great system. My number one is something we touched on earlier. If you've been keeping track, you already know what it is. It is the Fun Machine, the Nintendo 64.
I love it.
And we've already talked about it a little bit. But I mean, I love that system. That system has such a special place in my heart. That is the first system that I owned that was like mine. Like that was the first one that I owned that was like no, like the Super Nintendo was kind of like a shared thing. No, the N64 was mine. From Mario 64 to, Ocarina of Time to even weird shit. Like I think I talked on one episode about Space Station Silicon Valley and like Pokemon Stadium and stuff like that.
No, do you remember the game Gemini Force?
Yeah, Jet Force Gemini.
Yeah, there you go. That was the fuck it was. Jet Force Gemini.
Yeah,
fuck.
Of course. Yeah, that's a rare game actually.
Is it? You're right. It is.
As a matter of fact, I think that's actually on the Rare Replay collection. On Xbox One, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, shit.
I think so.
I might have to go play that. Because I might have to go jump on my dad's shit.
But the thing, all these games are amazing. Like all these things on N64. I mean, GoldenEye. I mean, these games are great.
Yep.
But the thing that really kind of changed it for me, the thing that kind of amped it up was when I first heard this little ditty. Banjo-Kazooie, bitch.
I already know, bro. Like is that effectively your favorite game?
It's not my favorite game of all time. It's up there.
It's up there. I know it's like it would. I think it would be in your top 5.
We've done this topic before. It was in my top 10. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah, we've done this. I think that was episode like 14. I want to say.
Shit.
Yeah,
Damn,
Banjo-Kazooie. Yeah, Banjo-Kazooie was like that was a game changer for me. Like as much as I loved and played the shit out of like some of these other games, Banjo-Kazooie was when I just like I fell in love with that game, dude.
You know, it's the funniest thing about like just me and you talking is like just you're only like what, like 2 or 3 years older than me?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, so it's just like it's crazy to see like just because like with my age is like I actually was more into Banjo-Tooie because it was just like that age, a little bit of age difference.
Yeah. You don't think it's
Yeah.
significant, but it actually
No,
is.
it is. It's like
Yeah.
even like because again, like we've talked about it before. Like you were more into Pokemon, my ass was more into Digimon, like shit like
Right.
that.
It's just the trends of modern art too. Like that's
Yeah,
just the way
yeah.
shit worked out, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, N64, incredible. I hope they do an N64 classic because I really want to have a little cute N64. And I also like the controller. Like, you know, like a lot of people shit on the N64 controller, and honestly, it is kind of shitty, to be honest.
It is shitty, but I still like it. That's the thing.
Because Nintendo thought that you had like a third arm in your chest that could like reach out and touch that thumbstick. But I still liked it. Like back then, you didn't care. You just held 2 of the 3 handles and you got over it. You know.
That's making me laugh more than it should. But
But yeah, what more can I say about it? I love the Nintendo 64, and
Yeah.
and like I said, that was the first console that I ever took like kind of a personal ownership over.
Yeah.
And that to me, like the games that I played on Nintendo 64 are responsible for me still playing games like that today. And I think the Nintendo 64 is the earliest that you can point to, and like something like an Ocarina of Time, where you can look at that, and it doesn't look indistinguishable from something that would come out today. Like I think the N64 games hold up against modern games in a way that other systems don't.
yeah.
Anyway, what's your number one?
Xbox 360.
Of
Now
course.
I'm about to like. It's like I have such fond memories of this system and then such negative memories at the same time. Because you know the red ring of death.
Oh sure.
Oh my god. I've told this story I think before on the show, but I'm gonna talk about it again. Like my worst memory of the 360 is with the game Cameo.
Oh yes.
So this was our
I don't know
original
if you told this story on the show, but you have.
Oh, well,
I do
here
know
we
this
go.
story.
Everybody like enjoy it. That's because it pisses me the fuck off to this day. Now, this was our first 360, and you know, Cameo was a launch title, right? Yeah, that's the thing.
Yes.
Yeah, so absolutely loved what I played of that game. Never beat it, by the way. We'll get to why.
Yeah, good game.
That was really good game. Really enjoyed the shit out of everything that I played out of it. Red Ring of Death. Lost all my progress. Never played that game again. Because I'm telling you right now, I was probably at the ass end of that game. Like,
You probably
I
were.
was
It's
like,
not super long.
it's not a super long game. And it was just like, it annoys the shit out of me. But why the Xbox 360 is like my favorite, like why it's number one, is because of just that is when I really got into like gaming like to an extreme, like where it was just like honestly an obsession. It's like
Okay.
like if I wasn't at like school, like because it came out when I was in middle, it was like when I was in middle school, the 360 was a thing for me, and so at that point I'm sitting there like if I wasn't at school, I was playing games. Like you know that was actually my first introduction to Elder Scrolls, you know Oblivion.
Mm.
So that's you know any Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, it's funny how we've both shouted out Elder Scrolls and just
you got to. Elder Scrolls is such like it's all,
mutual
like, no matter,
understanding of the time spent. Yeah.
right? Because it's like I don't even want to know how many hours I put into Oblivion. I don't.
Oh God, yeah.
Because I played it on 360 and also I played it on PC.
Well, and even like you got to think too, like 360 also had Skyrim. You know.
I don't even give a shit about. That's actually a crazy thing if you think about it. That it came out. Well, how? Because I think the 360 generation, I think that generation lasted a good long while.
Yeah, the 360 PS3 generation is the longest console generation, and it's because of a lot of things. It's mostly because of the economy.
Yeah.
And so people weren't going to be, as people were analyzing the economy leading into the next console generation, like people were not going to have the money to shill out for another console so quick. Yeah. So they ended up lasting about 10 years.
So yeah, this is you know, like it is the console that I've probably spent the most time with, even like even to this day. Is just simply because of like that's when I was sitting there actually like it'd be those days like after school I'd have friends over, we'd be sitting there playing like split screen like Call of Duty 2 back in the day, like it's like don't fucking screen watch, you asshole, like those type of moments.
It's just funny because to me like yeah, I had those moments. To me it was just like you said, just slightly earlier for me. Like that to me was like original Xbox and N64. Yeah,
I think it was just like the age group. It's like you start kind of like doing shit like that, like in your middle school. I didn't really hang out with people like in elementary school. Fuck you, man.
Right.
Type shit. And I was just like, it was such like I have such fond memories of like so many games in there. That's back when I was again like more into the Call of Duties. Like back when I was like heavily into like FPSs. That was like really like all I really played.
Right.
And I was a god amongst men. I was a teenage cyborg back then. Like I was too fucking good.
I remember.
That shit's dead now. I'm a fossil.
Still, I think you and I are still both competent.
Oh,
at shooters.
We're competent, but we ain't what we used to be type shit.
No.
My reaction time is delayed.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's I've actually been debating on uploading that Battlefield 1 clip of us.
Which one?
The Inglourious Bastards shit. Where you and I were in that house and just killed 12 people.
Is that clip not on YouTube?
I don't think it is. It's on Facebook.
Oh, that's such a good clip, man. Like,
I think we need to put that clip on YouTube. Yeah.
Like those motherfuckers are pouring it. I also need to get that like just the Star Wars clip from the Far Cry stream up.
Oh right.
I have it ready. It just needs to be uploaded. But yeah, like there's just so many like fond memories I have, and it's just like it kind of like just. Like, I never had an issue the moment, like, the Xbox 360 Elite came out. Like, that was, like, I never had another Red Ring of Death ever again.
It's funny. Like, I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast or not. I actually convinced my mom. I don't know how I did it, but, like, the way I first got a 360, I got a 360 actually pretty late. I didn't get one until the Elite came out.
Really?
And I somehow convinced my mom to let me get one. Like... I don't know how. Like I just was. I guess she just. I don't know. I'd have to ask her. I guess she just like liked how into it I was, and like as a kid, I didn't really ask for much. I my interests were pretty honed, but yeah, I think I was just describing to her like, oh, it's more powerful than the original Xbox, and they fixed the Red Ring of Death. And she didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. But she's like, "What the hell is an Xbox?" But I think she just I think if I were to ask her today, she would probably say that she just liked how passionate I seemed to be about it, and yeah, she bought me one. I think she actually went halvesies with me on one, if I'm not mistaken, and yeah, that was how I first got 360.
Yeah. I love it
with the Elite.
Yeah, there's just honestly, it's just like when I think back to like everything about the Xbox like 360 is just like I had about like God, how many years of just pure entertainment and just playing with like so many of like friends and all that. Like that was like the best. That was the best time for me. Just like playing like online games with friends, like shit Halo 3 with like you and Dan. Like you can't beat that shit, man. It's just like that's like honestly like when I was like putting this list together for myself, like that one was like the easiest one. It was just like number 1, 360.
It's like that. It's like that Goonies thing. Like, like down here, this is our time.
That's exactly what it is. It's just like that's like kind of like why it ended up being number 1 for me. It's just like I have had too many like years of just like entertainment from that thing. Like gaming... I can just think back.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I can just think back to like too many like memories. I could talk about like my experiences with the 360 for like an entire like hour, like plus I just talk about that shit all day.
Because gaming, gaming as you get older, gaming as an adult and gaming as a younger kid or a teenager is so different.
Oh yeah.
Like now, when you're buying games for yourself and you don't have a lot of free time between work and shit, it just feels like an escape from bullshit. And
yeah, it's like a little bit of the magic is lost in a weird way,
Yeah.
And like again, like I think back to 360 is just like like I was I was still in school, so it's like I had free time up the ass,
Right.
and I just think back to just like fucking like dude, especially during the summer. Holy shit! Like I will shout this out. So Red Dead Redemption came out, and one of my best friends, Ronald, he and I like really got into the multiplayer of that game.
I remember.
Really into that multiplayer, more so than I think I got into it more than technically like GTA 4's multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was like in a weird way I was like good at it. Like there's like a sniper. Oh god, you didn't want to fuck with me. Like I was like dirty with the sniper. I would hit like long shots like nothing. And but we spent, I swear to God, like 18 plus hours grinding to level up.
Yeah.
Doing the same fucking thing. There was like a mission that was like worth a lot of like XP. We would just sit there and redo it.
Lord.
It was like, dude, honestly, like we sat there like it was light. It was light when we started. It was light when we ended. It was like it was it was fucking bad. I think I made a Facebook post about it or some shit. Like I was like, so I just spent 18 hours of my life doing that shit.
I
don't regret it though. Like that.
Yeah.
That's the shit. It's like it was fun. I like you're just chilling there with like one of my closest friends, just enjoying life.
Yeah,
Can't do that anymore as a depressed old man.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, and even if you and that's the thing is like, even if you do carve out the time to do shit like that, like you feel like you should be doing something else because like
exactly, like you just feel like I honestly like I think maybe like even between me and you, like our longest sessions might be like maybe 5 hours.
Right.
Like, and that's short in the long scheme of things, like compared to like what the shit we used to do,
You're either tired from work, so you want to like sleep and rest your beaten husk, or you feel the responsibilities of adult life creeping in. Yeah, there's something more magical about playing when you're a kid, and really the only responsibilities you have is school, and when you're not at school, you escape from school with video games, and you don't have anything else to worry about. And I think that's where the magic of video games came in, and that's ultimately that's where the seed was planted that has grown into what gaming is for me now.
Yeah, it's just an escape from bullshit. That's really what it is
still,
for me. Like,
still very much in love with video games, but
yeah, without a doubt.
But there is
definitely just
there's something that was existent back then that you can never get back.
Oh god, no. Like again, the magic is a little bit lost. When you're in your 20s. Like
I think that's a respectable reason to give the Xbox 360 your number one, Todd.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. God,
I can
continue for a while. I think that's it. I mean, I technically do have a lot to say about it, but it's just like I think we can.
You think 2 hours is enough?
Yeah, that's why I'm looking at the time. I'm like, I think we're kind of good. So let's.
think 2 hours just talking about our fucking idiotic video game list here is enough for these listeners.
I think it's good.
All right. Well, you guys have been listening to Nerd Bourbon. If you had a good time listening to us rank our favorite consoles, talk about our video gaming memories, and me, I guess, reviewing some shit at the beginning. That feels like so long ago now.
Right.
Why don't you guys go ahead and throw us a follow or a sub on whatever service you're listening to us on. And if there's a service we aren't currently on that you want us on, please let us know so we can make that happen. And if you got any questions, thoughts, comments, or concerns, leave them for me, and you might get the question right on the show. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdbourbon. We're at nerdbourbon on Twitter, and we are nerdbourbon on Twitch. And beyond that, the best and only way for us to grow is if you guys tell your friends about us. So thank you guys so much for listening. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Oh, splendid. Simply delicious. Oh,